I'm a huge Bernie Sanders fan. I even wrote songs about him. I definitely feel the burn. And now, even though Bernie's out of the race, there's still another movement that shares his values that every Bernie supporter should get behind. The movement for a universal basic income, which is the idea that we should eliminate poverty, the problem of people not having enough money, by giving everybody money. Enough money to provide for basic human necessities, whether they work or not.
You've begun to have people go back to both Milton Friedman and Martin Luther King Jr. who said we should really have a fundamentally guaranteed standard of living in this country.
A guaranteed minimum income for all people and for all families of our country.
I am absolutely sympathetic to that approach.
Here's 10 reasons why Bernie and everyone who supported him should advocate for a basic income.
Reason number 1, solidarity.
You're not going to divide us up. We are going to stand together.
I support raising the minimum wage because nobody working 40 hours a week should live in poverty. But what about people working 40 hours a week who are not employed? Think of stay-at-home parents, charity workers, and self-employed small business owners. And how about all the independent journalists, activists, and volunteer workers to whom the Bernie Sanders campaign owes most of its success? All that work doesn't even pay minimum wage. It pays nothing. A higher minimum wage will help lift employees out of poverty. But in order to achieve real solidarity, we need a movement that includes everyone. That means valuing all work, all workers, not just those who are traditionally employed. Reason number 2, the future of labor.
For 30 years, Bernie Sanders has been fighting to save America's shrinking middle class. He rightfully blames a large part of our growing inequality on free trade deals that make it easier for American corporations to move jobs overseas. But everyone should also be aware that such jobs are not only becoming unavailable to Americans due to offshore manufacturing, they're becoming unavailable to humans anywhere due to automation.
Now this sounds Marxist, and I don't want to skip to your left on this, but I got to tell you something. When I see automation, when I go to a CVS that used to employ a lot of people just above the poverty level, above the minimum wage, and you walk in there now, it's all machines.
Please select your payment method.
And by the way, I used to have about 7 or 8 cameramen. I don't have them anymore. It's all automated. It's all robots.
Yes, I think that's an important point. No question about it. Robotics, automation have played a very important role.
Oxford research predicts nearly half of all American jobs will be automated in the next 20 years. Minimum wages and revised trade deals will not protect working families from the growing trend of automation, but a universal basic income would.
Reason number 3, healthcare.
I believe that healthcare is a right of all people. I believe that there is something wrong when we are spending...
where did that right come from in your mind?
Being a human being. Being a human being.
Yes, we should guarantee healthcare to the sick, but we should also guarantee access to basic needs to help prevent people from becoming sick in the first place. One thing we know makes people sick is poverty. Not only is it harder to afford healthy foods with an insecure income, but decades of research shows that the chronic stress of poverty makes people more likely to have mental and physical health issues. And so, surprise, surprise, evidence suggests that eliminating poverty with a basic income would make people healthier.
When a minimum income was provided to everyone in the city of Dauphin during a Canadian experiment known as Mincome, hospital visits dropped 8.5%.
Reason number 4, ethics.
We have got to ingrain moral principles into our economy.
In America today, we throw away 40% of the food that we produce and have 6 vacant homes for each homeless American. Rather than waste our abundant resources, let's give people the access they need to those resources with the universal basic income.
Creating a moral economy, not an economy based on greed.
Reason number 5, job creation. One of Bernie Sanders' top priorities is creating new jobs for millions of Americans. But basic income is the only policy that would create a new job for every American. Now, not a traditional job where you spend your waking hours doing what someone else tells you to, but a job spending your time on what you yourself find meaningful.
Money and wealth should serve the people. The people should not have to serve money and wealth.
Reason number 6, the environment.
Climate change is already causing horrific problems in our country and all over the world, and those problems will become much, much more severe if we do not act boldly.
Tree cutters and fossil fuel industry workers continue harming the environment because they need a paycheck to support themselves and their families. With a basic income, millions of people will no longer be dependent on income from jobs, including the environmentally destructive ones. Also, because people will now have the power to say no to work, we'd likely reduce rush hour traffic and fuel emissions. Reason number 7, war and peace. The truth is that economic insecurity is an influential recruitment tool for any military group, whether it's the USA Army or ISIS.
History shows that when the American economy goes down, volunteering for the military goes up.
With basic income, no one will ever again be so easily coerced into war for a basic paycheck.
No more wars!
Reason number 8, crime reduction.
If you want to get tough on crime, let's deal with the causes of crime.
Crime is often a result of desperation and lack of opportunities to earn money.
I can't find a job. I'll do it the legal way, try to get a job, and I can't find a job, and I can't pay my bills. I'll go get a gun and I'll pay my bills.
If we eliminate the desperation with the basic income, we could eliminate a lot of the crime along with it.
Let's demand that every man, woman, and child in this country have a decent opportunity and a decent standard of living.
Reason number 9, Social Security. Bernie Sanders wants to expand Social Security, and basic income would be the best way to do that because it's less confusing, more fair, and would benefit everyone, not just seniors. Reason number 10, government efficiency.
I'm in the United States Senate, and anyone who doesn't think that there is an enormous amount of waste and inefficiency and bureaucracy throughout government would be very, very mistaken.
Welfare in the U.S. is a complex maze of 126 anti-poverty programs. Bureaucratic departments reviewing, rejecting, re-reviewing, and maybe accepting applications and doing the same thing over again week after week. What a waste of time and money.
I believe in government, but I believe in efficient government, not wasteful government.
In the wealthiest country in the history of the world, people shouldn't have to apply for bare-bones survival.
The basic needs of life should be there for all of our people.
Basic income would enable that with one simple program.
So now with all the similarities and common goals between the Bernie Sanders campaign and the basic income movement, would Bernie Sanders himself support a basic income?
Do you support a universal basic income for all U.S. residents?
If the goal is that in America everybody should have at least a modest standard of living with health care, with educational opportunity, the answer is absolutely yes.
I'm Orf, thanks for watching. What do you think? Would you support a basic income? Why or why not? Let's duke it out in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please help me get a basic income on Patreon.
Money has to serve, not to rule. Everybody in this country should in fact have at least a minimum and dignified standard of living. There is a need for financial reform along ethical lines that would produce in its turn an economic reform to benefit everyone. The basic needs of life should be there for all of our people.
Bernie Sanders, everybody.
Think outside of the box. What our campaign is about is asking people to think big, not small. Real freedom must include economic security. What looks impossible today is not impossible